Yeah, I'm about to tell y'all something. I don't want y'all to try this. It ain't gonna work in this day and time. But this is about a little bit of my life coming up in Detroit. Brothers that grew up during the late 50s and the 60s in Detroit. Some rough brothers, man. It'll be a long time before you'll get some brothers like us. Yeah, in the 60s, man, we was going to post junior high. I started off at what they call Custer School. I think they call it Thurgood Marshall now. Yeah, Thurgood Marshall. Over on Linwood and John C. Lodge Expressway, or number 10, between Linwood, Pilgrim, and Puritan. But I stayed on the other side of Finkel, close to Davidson. And I went to that school in 56. I was 10 when I first went to that school. And mostly white, bullying the blacks. I came from straight off of Hastings or Mac, off of Mac Avenue or Mac Street in Detroit. That's where you got the word Mac from. And we was chasing them white boys out of there. And when I moved on the west side, on Finkel, mostly whites on Wildermere, I moved on a street called Wildermere, not Wildermere, but it's spelled like that, Wildemere. Wildermere. Mostly whites. One or two black families. I went to Custer first, and about a week after I got in Custer, we had a confrontation with white boys putting rocks and snowballs, hitting them in a brother I grew up with. Hit him in his mouth, busted his mouth open. But we got him the next day. I told some more brothers, because he had a little crew. White boy had a little crew around him. So we got him. And then after we went to after we went to Custer, we went to a school called Post Junior High in back of Fitzgerald, where Stevie Wonder went to school. He went to school at Fitzgerald, right on the same place. We used the same playground, you know. Uh, and the white boys burnt the cross on a black family that moved right across the street from Post. I, I heard him. I overheard him talking at lunchtime. All the rest of the little Negroes was scared, but he had a crew around him, so I waited till he got by himself. Didn't know his father was a detective, and then he called in his old man. They called me down, but I got out of that. I ain't gonna go through all the changes. So this is when the war began on the west side on Finkel. And after Finkel, after we went to Post, we went to Mumford. Mumford is you see it in Eddie Murphy's movie. He had on a Mumford T-shirt, sweatshirt, and the Wineys came out of there. I went before they did, though. I'm quite a bit older than the Wineys. I went before Earl Klugh went there. Y'all don't know Earl Klugh, he a jazz musician. I was there. We was the first one. I was the first one that walked in the integrated. Me and my crew was the first one that walked into Mumford and integrated, and they had a motorcycle gang blocking the entrance. And I'm gonna tell you, the counselors and the teachers was inside the building watching the motorcycle gang stop us from coming in. But it was some brothers we know, because I was in the music back then, and I knew these brothers. They called it Rembrandt brothers. They had a group, a singing group, and I knew these brothers. They lived across 8 Mile in a little city called Ferndale, where the Spinners come from, and they had to go to Mumford too. See, they had to, so we seen them and their crew coming down the street, and we told them what the situation was, and we went to school that day. But all hell broke loose. It's been breaking loose. We was going to post. But this was the biggest one of all. This one they called the police, and we turned over their cars, jacked the police up. These rookie cops couldn't handle us, because brothers started coming from all over Detroit. That's unity right there. That's black unity. I don't want y'all to try this. It's a different situation now. They'll shoot y'all on sight. But back then, they thought they could handle us, and they couldn't. All this was before the '67 riots, see. And we didn't play that, They're not going to write about this. They wrote about, we had a riot up at Post. They might write about that one in the Free Press or something. You got to look through the archives. This was in the late 50s and the early 60s when I was going to Post. I started Post in 56, and I left there a year or two later. And then I went to Mumford. I never did finish going to Mumford. I didn't like Mumford, and I didn't finish going there. But the Finkel crew, the Dexter's crew, Puritan, the Pilgrim Villages, Highland Park, who else? 24th, Northern. We pushed these guys back across Schaefer. Then we pushed them even further back across Grand River to Telegraph. We pushed them there. They couldn't handle us. Black Light out.